Hey everybody. I just wanted to do this video on the Unity runtime fee and the fact that they have canceled the fee. And if you haven't been keeping track, so a while ago, Unity created this runtime fee. And this fee had caused a massive uproar in the game development community. I mean, if you think about it, Unity proposed a fee that will be charged on developers based on the game install. That means that per install. So if someone purchased your game and they installed it on 3 computers, you as the game developer would be charged for that. Now, that may sound insane to you, but that was something that was written in their documentation and put in their terms and agreements. You would have had to sign off using Unity with this sort of runtime fee idea. So as you can imagine, this upset so many because it seemed unfair, especially for small developers. I mean, when you have a small team, you can imagine that creating a successful game, number one, that's difficult by itself. And then while it's trying to become successful, every time someone installs it, you get hit with a fee. But as this article on, well, it's a blog, the Unity blog, and they put it on here because they really wanted everyone to know that due to this backlash, that fee has been canceled. Yes, that's right. The fee has been canceled. So they're going to revert to the old terms. And you can understand why. Because when they created this fee, when they put this fee out there, over 60% of developers said they would consider leaving Unity if this fee was enforced. So what does this mean? It means that this is a huge win for developers, number one. And it also means, and I know you might want to hate on Unity, but it also means that they listen to their community. Which reminds you that when communities really stand for something and they stay close together, even big corporations have to take note. It's part of my teams versus tools mentality. A tool is something that can do something well, or a person that can even do something well, whereas a team is something that they come up with ideas, they collaborate, and they move as one. And that's basically what happened here in regards to the dev community, the Unity dev community. A lot of people went over to Unreal right when this happened. They weren't even going to fight it. They just went over to Unreal or some other game engines. A lot of people went over to Godot engine. So that's the idea here, is that Unity literally ignored their audience. They ignored their backstory and how they became one of the most beloved game engines out there. They ignored that, and then they tried to shoehorn this idea of this runtime fee, which is insane. So let's read through this a little bit and see what we have today. As follow-up from the September 12th Unity runtime fee cancellation, we released an update to the Unity editor software terms that reflect what we announced in the blog post. We removed language related to the runtime fee and made updates to tier eligibility for Unity plans. To make this as clear and easy to understand as possible, we're unpacking these changes below. And you can also review the updated terms on our GitHub repository and at unity.com/legal. So then they go over these key points. So let's go over these key points really quick. One of the key points is they removed the runtime fee policy, which is great. That's what everyone's looking for, and that's probably why they put that first. So, and the second one, they're talking about the tiers, how much you would have to make in order for something to apply. So it says updates to Unity plans tier eligibility, which is based on annual company revenue and funding. Do you see all the other tiers there? And basically, it applies to all of that. And finally, changes to Unity plan pricing, tier eligibility, and financial thresholds will continue to apply to all editor users. And then they go on to say what isn't changing is that you can continue using the current version of the editor software under the previous agreed terms, provided you keep using that version. So let's say if you're not using 6, you're using Unity before, Unity before 6 has come out, then you will be under those terms. Now, the reason why that's important, because at one point they had come out and said, when they came out with the runtime fee, that even when you were using old ones, you were going to have to do it. Then they changed that. It just kept on changing. So they didn't know whether they were coming or going. So this is why people are like, okay, I don't even know. I'm not basing my company or my future or my education on this. So it goes on to say, for clarity, we provided answers to frequently asked questions below and added them to our pricing updates webpage. If you have additional questions, you can visit us on Unity Discussions, where we'll be on hand to help. And then they give these questions down here. And, I'm sure these aren't all the questions and the curse words that they probably got, but I guess these are something that's suitable for a reasonable public or reasonable viewing audience. Here's the thing. Unity. I'm talking to you. And I'm actually talking to anybody. I'm talking to people who make movies. I'm talking to people who make games. I'm talking to people who make, product. You're making the product for the people who buy the product, okay? When the people who buy the product get you to a point in your career or your product's life cycle to where you're famous or you're big or you're well accepted and everyone likes it and they're relying on it. They're betting their businesses on it. They're betting their livelihood on it. Once you get to that point and you decide to ignore the backstory of the creation of this product, in this case, Unity, if you ignore how it got here, what eventually will happen is that no matter how much power you have, you will eventually lose your audience. You may be trying to please a new audience, but that new audience didn't get you there. That new audience may come and they may go. It is the core base that does the extra videos, the core base that purchases the add-ons and purchases things from the app store or from the asset store. These are the people that actually are encouraging other people to use it. These are the professors that's using it in their classrooms. These are the people who are using it for visualization and audio, audio design stuff. These are the people actually making the assets on the App Store and programming for it, using C# or whatever they're using for it. They're advocating for it. They're making 3D objects in relation to it. They're doing all this work, and they're doing it because they are fans and they were there from the beginning. Most people who are using Unity is not making money on Unity. They're using it because they enjoy making games. So yeah, I understand. There's going to be a lot of people who want to make games and they want to make money. But think about this for a second. That audience, the majority of the audience who's not making money on these games, they're spending thousands and thousands of dollars a month on assets, even though they may not be making a game to go to market or anything like that. Yeah, there's a large group of people who want to make games, but most people want to make games because they're passionate about it. And that's what Unity stands for. Now, I can understand if we were dealing with Unreal. Unreal is, I would say, if you're going to make a AAA game, that's probably the way you would go. Not to say that Unity can't make AAA games. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's just sort of the way one would look at it in many instances, because Unreal never came up with a runtime fee like this, and they've been pretty consistent. So whether you like Unreal or not, they have not tried to stab their users in the back and siphon every dime out of them when they were already buying everything from the asset store, and they were already doing this out of just the sheer joy of making games. And they would spend money, by the way. It was an expensive hobby in most people's cases, a hobby that they weren't even planning on making money back from. So you got to understand that, is that when you betray your backstory, you betray your current product, and eventually those people who helped you get there will leave, and the new people are not going to stick around. You can look at this in movies. You can look at it in music. You can look at it in everything. For instance, when a musician goes out there and they start talking politics, they just messed up. Unless they're a political, band, right? So they should just stick to their music or whatever, unless they really want to do that. They really want to separate their audience. I'm not saying that that's good or bad. I'm just saying you got to be ready to split the market when you betray your backstory, how you got there. So hopefully this video was helpful. You can read up on this at unity.com. The link is right here. So you can go on unity.com/blog, terms, update, runtime fee, cancellation, and you'll be able to read through all of this here. It's very short, but hey, I wanted to keep everybody updated on this since I actually did a video on this before. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.